This guy did the most stupid thing in the Formula 1 history. Something so stupid that in just 9 laps he got DNF, disqualified and banned for life from Formula 1. Okay, but what did he do so crazy? We are in 1977 in Germany at Hockenheim Grand Prix. It's the 11th round of the Formula 1 World Championship. It's a hot day in July and the cars are ready to battle for the race. Among the teams ready to compete, there is one team called ATS, which we have to say was not the fastest car on the grid, so they didn't make the history for being super fast. That team just entered Formula 1 that year and they took the parts from the American Penske racing team, who withdrew from Formula 1 in 1976. So, why did this team make history in that Grand Prix? What did they do so special? An incredible victory after overtaking everybody? A brilliant pit stop strategy? An unprecedented technical innovation? Well, nothing like this. I mean, actually they had a brilliant strategy, but let me explain. For this race, ATS chose as a second driver Hans Heyer, who actually was a very good driver, very well known in racing, even if he didn't debut in Formula 1 yet. He had made himself known for the touring car races. For example, he won the European Championship in 1974 with Ford. So this is the weekend where he will debut in Formula 1. We are in qualifying. Jody Scheckter takes the pole position with John Watson in the second place, Niki Lauda in P3, and Hans Heyer with the ATS? Well, he sets the 27th time, which is a bit bad considering that his teammate manages to get to the top 10. But there is a problem, that in those times, not every car competing in the qualifying was allowed to take part to the race. Because out of 30 participants, only 24 were allowed to race. And guess what? Hans Heyer, being 27th, is not allowed to race. Therefore, DNQ did not qualify. So, it's over. Well, Hans has a dream, and the dream is to race in Formula 1. And when you have a dream, you will always find a way to fulfill the dream. In fact, there is actually a way to race, because if during the outlap some of the car break while getting to the starting grid, they can be replaced by the next car in the qualifying. So those cars were well known to be unreliable, but the odds that 3 cars out of 24 break during the outlap are quite low. And guess what? In that day, 0 failures. All 24 cars are ready on the grid to start the race. So at that point, Hans comes with the great idea. Back in those days, there was a big confusion on the starting grid, right? No many cameras, not many controls, so it was quite hard to determine whether a driver was actually a driver or not. So Hans, taking advantage of the confusion, wears the helmet, jumps into the car, and asks to the mechanics for new tires and the full tank. He turns on the car and goes to the exit of the pit lane. There, he asks to his friends Greek girls to position themselves in the front of the car to cover him so that he doesn't get noticed. Obviously, the girls didn't know nothing about that. They just thought it was a driver ready to race, maybe starting from the pit lane, so they did that. And as soon as the race starts, the girls move away and Hans gets into the track and starts the race. He's running a Formula 1 Grand Prix he didn't qualify for, but nobody noticed him. Nobody. And listen to this, he also manages to climb the top 20, thanks to some withdrawals and also some good overtakings. Hans Heyer is racing, he's even overtaking cars, and nobody realizes there's something wrong. So the move of the century is done. Hans Heyer is recovering, he is ready to get to the top 10 until the gear lever breaks in the 9th lap, and Hans Heyer is forced to return to the pits. So, race over, DNF. Only at that point the race control realizes that he wasn't allowed to race. And can you imagine the face of the marshal realizing that he'd done 9 laps and nobody noticed it? So after some time, the decision comes. DSQ, disqualified. Okay, you may say, well, he tried, it didn't go. He tried again in the next Grand Prix, right? Well, actually not, because the disqualification was not only for that race, because Hans received a lifetime ban from Formula 1. So can you understand that? In one weekend, in just 9 laps, DNF, DNQ, DNF, DSQ, and banned. That's the weekend when Hans Heyer, with just 9 laps in Formula 1, became a legend.